Imagine this scene. Here I am in Glasgow for the 16th Climate Conference of Youth organized by the United Nations. At the end of the conference, more than 500 youth from all around the world were gathered in front of Alok Sharma, the president of COP26, so that we could deliver the Global Youth Statement, a policy document which united more than 40,000 youth voices and their climate demands. For this occasion, I remember Mr. Sharma was giving us a speech. In it, he talked about youth engagement, how our work was crucial and that we should keep pushing for the demands that we ask for. I even remember him saying that he saw himself as part of our collective youth movement. And at some point, midway through his speech, a group of delegates who were actually right in front of me, they stood up. They stood up and they were angry. They were actually so angry that they started to shout. Everything you are saying is empty words. You do not and will not understand the youth. Mr. Sharma, you are a hypocrite. After a couple of seconds of silence, this was followed by our chants, but unfortunately, a couple of minutes later, these three delegates, they were removed out of the room while Mr. Sharma continued where he left off and finished his speech. This little incident reflects very well the generation gap and generation understanding on climate change. On one hand, there is a more mature generation who's trying to progress things and thinking they're doing well through a number of initiatives. This generation comes from successful industrialization, and for them, inches of progress without really hurting the poverty line or the overall quality of life is already a great success. On the other hand, however, there is a new generation of change makers who believes in making the world a better place, who cares about its environment, and who is ready to build on its passion. This youth does not want peanut inches, but rather they demand radical miles of progress. The sad thing is that both views are actually valid and both views are required. But yet today, these three delegates, they were removed out of the scene. The incident was rapidly minimized and the world moved on to other news without really understanding the core reason of why this happened that day. There are two lessons I learned from this story. The first one is that the climate crisis faces an understanding gap between the youth and the adults. Even though we are on the same boat, we did not yet succeed in seeing eye to eye when it comes to the priorities we should put forward. And number two, to bring out efficient political action and to actually bridge this understanding gap, youth involvement in climate-related decision-making processes has now become a necessity. So I thought to myself, what drives this generational understanding gap? And the first thought that came to mind is that the level of urgency around the climate crisis has dramatically increased over time. Many of the previous generation grew up with climate change as being something that will happen, not something that is happening right now. At that time, we couldn't really see climate change. We couldn't really feel it. Maybe you thought of this polar bear right there, and that was it. So I understand if someone from this generation might ask himself, what is climate change really about? For my generation, climate change is something that we have seen deteriorating through our entire youth. Its impact is not something that we will be seeing in the next 5, 10, or 15 years, mainly because we can see the consequences right now as I'm speaking. And it takes numerous forms, increasing and more devastating natural disasters like floods, droughts, or cyclones, but also increasing health risks and an increasing risk of a new pandemic. I'm pretty sure we all know what a pandemic is now, and we don't want another one. But I could go on and on with the consequences. Heat waves, climate migration, economic risks to loss and damage, biodiversity loss, ocean acidification, and so on. When I think of all these consequences, I understand what climate change is actually about. Climate change is about the people that suffer from these consequences. Climate change is about this woman who cannot grow crops anymore on her soil because of a recent drought. Climate change is about this family who has to relocate because their house got destroyed by a flood. Climate change is about this young, bright student who is ready and eager to learn but cannot because his school got cancelled to yet another cyclone. Climate change, at the end of the day, it's about us. It's about the people. And this is why we have to move faster. We have to think beyond what we already achieved. But I know what some of you might say. It's easier said than done. And honestly, to some extent, I agree. Enacting change for the greater cause is sometimes challenging. As individuals, we often tend to prioritize ourselves. And as a society, we built a system where the main criteria for development is economic growth. The bad news is that changing this system, a system that we built and a mentality that we were educated in, is hard. But the good news is that my generation, we are the ones that are ready to do something about it. We are the ones that are ready to do the first steps. We developed our critical thinking within the urgency of the climate crisis. And more than that, we are creatives. We are the bearers of new technology and innovation. Rather than thinking individually, we want to work collaboratively with one another and with actually the entire planet. And talking about the entire planet, we are connected to it every single day for way too many hours. Our voices are amplified on social media. Let's use that for the right purposes. And last but not least, and I hope you understood this from my talk, but we are full of energy. We are full of passion. We want to carry the torch, and we need you to show us how to meaningfully do it. So include us. Include the youth at the decision-making level. It is crucial that our demands are reflected on the international scene and that we have a say in the decisions that impact our future. Youth voices should not only be heard, they should be taken seriously and equally alongside decision makers. Our difference in perspective is actually a force, and our combined voice has value and legitimacy. At the end of the day, we are fighting for the same cause, and we have the same goal. Let's join your wisdom and our passion for the greater good of what's next, so that hopefully, one day in the near future, these 3 delegates who were removed out of the scene, instead, they will be invited on stage so that we can all participate together to define the future of our world. This is, I think, is next. Thank you.